beautiful world. My name is Jessica, and today I'm going to do a video for you pertaining to root maintenance because I think it's important. I feel that it's important because a lot of people neglect their dreadlocks so terribly that they get matted and stuck together and create one giant knot. And I think that really sucks because at that point you have to cut them off or go back, rewind, and it's never a pretty situation. One of the main important steps to root maintenance I want to go over with you first is crocheting. I have a pack of crochet hooks right here, and then I also have a pack of Latch crochet hooks. Both extremely important, and you're going to be picking the tool that works best for you and your hair type. To show you up close the inside of the pack with it open and with sizes on them, this pack cost me about $6 or $7 at an art store. I went to Michael's. You can go to Michael's. I also go to AC Moore. You can probably get them at a Walmart as well. So as you can see, this is the biggest one you'll probably hardly ever use unless you have really, really thick dreads. And then it goes the whole way down to the tiniest hook. I tend to use the small one or the one right next to it. Next, important is the latch hook. As you can see, this hook is super small, and you want the smallest you can get for a latch hook. And it literally opens like this and latches shut. For a helpful tip, latch hooks are extremely hard to find in a craft or art store. I go on eBay, Amazon you can do as well, and you want to literally type in dreadlock, latch hook, crochet hook, something along those lines, but don't forget the latch with the crochet when you're searching for it. And they're only a couple dollars, and it may take you some time for it to get to you because they're normally found in Asia, China, Korea, other side of the United States world. If you're already over there, you're golden. But have patience, definitely get what you really are looking for and need. Don't settle for less because the latch hook is one of the most important tools you will need. Now I'm going to show you with the best that I can and camera setting and whatnots how to appropriately use the crochet hooks. I'm going to start with the latch hook, and I have it open before I'm going to put it through my dread. I picked one that's really close and dark so you can see with the good lighting here. Basically, I kind of pinch off here, okay? And you want to make sure to separate all the other dreads. You don't want any dreads in the way because you're going to kind of intertwine them, and the point of root maintenance is to separate your sections off so they continue to grow healthy and beautiful, so on and so forth. So I have this dreadlock, some new growth around, but for now I'm just going to show you that I'm pinching off and taking what's loose here. So you'll see loose hairs right here, okay? I'm wrapping them around the dreadlock, okay? At the base here, at the root. So here's all those little wispies, okay? I just took them a loop around. I'm going to take the latch hook with it open, push it through my dread out to that side, and hook on that hair, okay? Sometimes with my finger I have to close the latch shut, and then I can pull it through. Do you see it coming through the other side? Sometimes it gets a little tangled, and that's okay. So I just pinch the dread, I undo my hook, just kind of hard to do with the wind blowing, and yeah, okay. So don't break hairs, by the way. And sometimes I have to just kind of take my fingers to push it the rest of the way through, pull it the rest of the way through, excuse me. So now it's come to the other side, okay? I want to do that again. I want to take it, twist it around. Now it's up here on the back side again. Stick the crochet hook through like this, latch it, grab it, then latch it, and pull it through. That was a good one. See how it went through like that? Okay, and it came right back out the other side. So that's really crucial in doing with the baby hairs, the new growth that's coming through that you want to put back into the dreadlock, make some thicker, more full. Definitely helpful with the latch hook. I'm going to continue slightly through the remainder of the dread, not towards my root. So this was the root area I just showed you. I'm now down in this area, so you see that I still have wispies and I just hit my year mark of the dreadlock. So I like to occasionally tighten those up and put them back in, so you can do the same thing. You just come down, push it through after you've pinched off the hair with your other finger, wrap it around, make sure it's latched before you pull back through the dreadlock, and there you go. It came out the other side. So I just unhook it. Sometimes need to use the fingers, like I said, and there you go. So I just take the loose, pinch it, go around the other side, crochet hook through, hook it, latch it, pull back through. You can do that the whole way down the dreadlock. Now also I'm going to show you how I use these metal ones that do not have a latch. So I take the second to smallest one. It tends to be my favorite. It is super, super tiny. Measurement on it says 1.25 millimeter. So this is where you need to be super careful. With the latch hook, you're not breaking off as many hairs, hardly at all, because you're literally pinching the hair, pulling it through the other side. Nothing gets broken or damaged. With this, people tend to really damage and break their hair by vigorously going like this the whole way through the dread. And they're just stuffing all those hairs in really, really fast, and it's just like you can literally hear it happening. So what I tend to do, hold on. Okay, what I tend to do is use it in the same concept as the latch hook. So I take some of those loose, I come around to the other side with it, put this through, okay? And all you have to do is kind of like circle around and you can pull through, okay? And it does the same thing. It brought the hair through the other side. Be careful on how you unhook and release your hair because you don't want it to snap off, but that's basically the same concept as the latch hook. You can also just go through, and as you're like, you have the loose hairs on the other side, kind of like pinch it up against the hook, so when you come back in, you can feel them going to the center of the dread, but don't pull them out the other side, because throughout that whole journey that it's on, trying to get through the dread and out the other side, it tends to break more with these. And when you have that happening, especially at the roots and the base of your head, you are breaking off all of the hairs that are growing and holding your dreads into place and making the dreads happen. So if you do that, you're going to have such damage and broken hairs up here that your dreads are going to fall right off of your head. So be careful. Another important step to maintaining your dreadlocks and your roots without even having to use the crochet method, you can combine the two. Anytime you use combos, tends to be better. So you section off, again, any of the loose, new growth, whatever have you, around a dreadlock, okay? You take it, put all those hairs together, those little baby ones that you want to intertwine into your already existing dreadlock, and you push your two palms together really hard and you roll like this as hard as you can, pinching. It does tend to hurt the hands, and that also helps to lock in everything, as well as taking care of those wispy hairs throughout that I was explaining to you that still happened to me in my first year mark. So I just kind of do this, especially when you get out of the shower, is really helpful to get all those frayed pieces back into form. Another style of palm rolling is called a circular roll. So you'll do the same thing, take a dread, separate it, make sure all the surrounding hairs, this is the most important one, to make sure that all the surrounding new growth little tiny hairs are connected, because they're really going to mat them back to that one. So I take my two like peace sign finger right here like this, okay, so it's right there in between the peace sign. I'll do the same thing, alright, match them up like this, okay, and you're going to do a circular motion. I usually keep the one closest to my head, the hand closest to my head, still, and move the one away from my head in circular motion. You can do a little bit of both, but you're going to end up pulling those fine little sensitive hairs here at the scalp, so try and keep the one closest to your head as still as possible. And you're going to go like this, very, very fast, like. Okay, so in doing that, I started to create this like knottage again, and you'll feel it's like really tight. So you can combine the two. You can do a little bit of palm roll with it, and then back to that circular. Leave a little bit of space though, so it's not pulling on your dreads when you're sleeping on them, when you're washing them. And that just completely tightened everything up right there. Now, my hair seems to like the bubbles and stuff right at the scalp, which I don't care. That's fine by me. But what you would do then, if you don't want that, is you would combine methods. So we did some rolling of palm. We did circular like this. Then I would take a hook, and whatever is like wispy up there that you don't want these bubbles, you're just gonna like pinch them, wrap them around the dreadlock, okay? And you're gonna use a crochet hook, metal or latch, preferably the latch at the base, but I have a metal one. And you're gonna pull everything back through like this. I go really gentle, and when I go in, I pull to the other side and then unhook it and get it out of the dread. And then go through, pull to the other, like hook it, pull through, and then unhook as I'm coming out of the dread. I want to release the hair and keep it in there. I don't want to break it all off, like I've said. Another helpful remedy to dealing with crazy roots and new growth is rubber bands. So I have clear and I have colored. And I got the colored by accident at a store that only had colored options. And I didn't care for that much because it's helpful in the way that you can see it, so you know which ones you did and when to remove them. And then also the clear is nice because you can leave them in for a little bit longer. They tend to be a little bit stronger and more durable, and you can't see them, so you don't have like rainbow crazy color, especially when you have a certain job type and you want to go clear. The important part though about the colored ones is whenever I do touch-ups to my roots and my dreads, I tend to spread it out over a period of time because I have like 56 or 57 of them, and that takes a really long time. So I will put a colored one on the very tip after I've done that one. So then after the end of the week I can notice like, oh cool, I did like all the darker ones underneath, remove them, okay, I'm gonna start on some blondes now, so on and so forth. Now, you do not want to leave rubber bands in for a long time because the material of the rubber band, as well as some people will continue washing a lot. Those who wash their dreadlocks a lot with rubber bands, the rubber band like material breaks apart into the dreadlock, and sometimes all that new growth and the little wispies I was discussing with you, like all this that you can see on my hair, will also break off, or your rubber band will get so tangled and embedded in there that you have to like cut it out with scissors, and when you do that you're cutting off hairs and stuff anyway that you need that additional hair and root hair to intertwine. That's the whole purpose of doing the rubber band. So I will show you how to do the rubber band now. Okay, so I have found a dreadlock that I want to rubber band. I have loose hairs that I found very close to it, so when I separated my part for that particular dread, I found a loose hair that would go with that one. Okay, it's extremely long too. It comes to about like here, which you can see how long my dread is, so rubber banding can be extremely helpful. I want to match them up, get them all ready to rock and roll, put the rubber band on as close to my scalp as possible. And you don't want to make them too tight, but tight enough to where they're not sliding around and stuff, okay? And while you're doing it, you want to make sure to remove any additional hairs that are trying to make their way in there as you're tightening the rubber band that don't belong, okay? So I only wrapped it about 3 times, and I'm going to kind of go down to the base here and actually hold the hair that I just rubber banded to it before pulling it down to the base. Okay, so that's just rubber banding right there. You're putting everything back together neat and tidy. You could, again, do that with a different method. So you could rubber band everything off, maybe 10 of them on the top half that you want to do, and then after keeping the rubber bands in for a little bit, you can crochet while you have those in. So you're double assuring that what you have rubber band, like this little guy right here that I rubber band to the dread, I would now probably want to go through, you know, and wrap them around, do some palm rolling, and crochet that piece in. So I now have the baby hairs crocheted and rubber band into that dread from the new growth, as well as I'm touching up the base here that some people don't like, those fluffy loops and whatnot that I said I don't really care about. I kind of like it. It adds some pizzazz and like spunk to the hair, you know. Two other really important tools that you need to utilize in root maintenance is whenever you get out of the shower, separate your dreads. So all of that stuff up here that we were discussing tends to get tangled up whenever you're shampooing, because that's the main focus, or should be, whenever you're shampooing, is your scalp. Whatever you're rinsing out of your scalp, you are sponging throughout the dread and making sure it's so sponged that you've now got it all out of the dread. You don't want it in the dread, basically. So with all that being said, you want to make sure to separate everything as they're drying, before they're officially dry. So you just want to pull them apart, and it's really simple. You're just going like this, you know, and that's like crucial, because I know that looks terrible at the moment. Now there's an airplane as well, sorry. So you want to do that, because then as everything continues to grow, it's not getting all matted and tangled. Whenever that happens, you have terrible, terrible dreadlocks and terrible news over time. So it's okay if you forget here and there in between. Just try and remember, because it's really important. Also, another thing that helps whenever you've done so much touching up and root maintenance is that some people prefer to sleep with a bun on top of their head. So they're just getting it all out of the way. If you sleep on your back a lot, put it like way up high, you know what I mean? And get it like all up there, and it's kind of hard to do when your dreads get thicker to hold it all in one thing, but just wrap it up, get it out of the way, you know what I mean? And freaking sleep like that, you know, and then you don't have to worry about messing everything up as bad. I mean, you kind of would back here and on the sides a little bit, you know what I mean? But in all honesty, I like to leave them all free. Your hair is going to do what it wants to do anyway, but that does help some people, and depending on the hair type too, it helps. So you could do a bun to sleep, may help, may not be much of a difference. Also separate, really crucial and important. And that's about it. So now I have shared with you everything that I utilize, all the tools and methods that work for me in dread care and root maintenance when it comes to the actual hair itself. I have other videos coming out very soon that pertain to shampooing, conditioning, essential oils, things to that nature with dread care, but this is one of the most crucial ones as well, so I hope it is helpful. It has helped me greatly. I have mastered it within the first year. At first, crocheting, I did wrong, so you have to learn how to do everything the right way, the important upkeeping, what you can kind of do without, and then the things that you should continue to do more often than others. They all are very helpful. If you have any additional questions or comments, please leave them down below. I will answer them promptly and accurately as possible. I enjoy each and every one of you. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be able to share my experiences with others in hopes to help you through yours. The dreadlock journey is a fantastic one to be a part of. There's always something new to learn and something fun to dive into. Have a good day! Bye!